Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your listening and viewing environment. We are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, where you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships, whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind. God is concerned about that which concerns you. And that is the reason that we are here with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature, it is untouched by man? It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery. And you will save money at FijiWater.com. For those of you who continue giving on the gift segment of our app at New Life-Delaware, and those of you that have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on the contribution pages of our websites at newlifeministriesinternational.com, newlifeinternationalcdc.com, and those of you that use the QR code or the link provided on Facebook and YouTube, we thank all of you for your support and for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. So I want to say to all of our listeners and viewers, we are in the midst of our monthly FijiWater.com sponsored promo. So go to our internet radio station, WKAPFaith.com. The first 3 songs you hear at 12 p.m. or 6 p.m., list those 3 songs along with your name and your email address and text them to the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. One of our listeners and viewers will be selected to win a case of Fiji water from FijiWater.com, Earth's finest water. So I need to retract and say this. And the reason I'm going to say this is because we have to make a minor change. I know all of you have been asking for a 1-hour broadcast, but due to the continued growth in our, and we've given you what you asked for. Let me start there. But we are, due to the continued growth and expansion of our church and our ministry and everything that God is doing, and it is truly awesome. We're going to be giving you a 1-hour broadcast some days, like today, and a 30-minute broadcast on other days because of scheduling. So you're going to have to stay tuned in to find out what days we're going to be doing 1 hour, what days we're going to be doing 30 minutes. But we're going to ask you to just be tolerant of scheduling issues because God has done so many tremendous things. So I just want to encourage everyone. You'll get what you ask for. The days we can give it to you, we'll give you an hour. The days that we cannot, we'll give you 30 minutes. And the days that we are not on the air, you can always go back and view for inspiration. All of our broadcasts are on YouTube, Facebook in perpetuity on YouTube, and of course on our website, but they fall off after a year, but you can always view them on YouTube in perpetuity. So we want to make sure you stay connected with us, and of course, stay connected with us on our internet radio station, WKAPFaith.com, where we play music 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, music that will encourage you, empower you, and inspire you to become the best version of ourselves that we can possibly become. Now, having said that, I want to remind everyone, so that means we're going to have to make an adjustment to the times that you listen to songs for the FijiWater.com promo, because we're going to continue that throughout the year. One listener and viewer every month is going to continue to receive, is going to receive, let me say that, because we're spreading out the wealth, going to receive a case of Fiji water from FijiWater.com. So instead of 12 o'clock, we're going to encourage you at 11 a.m., and we'll make the change in the post today. The songs you hear, 3 songs that you hear at 11 a.m. or 6 p.m., list them along with your name, email address. As you know, text them to the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. And one of our listeners will receive, one of our listeners and viewers will receive a case of Fiji water, Earth's finest water, from FijiWater.com. So, I want to say to all of you, God is doing so many tremendous things, and we are thankful for what He's doing. You have seen the growth. You've seen the amazing things that God is doing. He's not done yet. So we've got a lot going on and a lot coming up. So stay tuned in. You don't want to miss this. You don't want to miss God. You know, people talk about missing God all the time and things that they're trying to do, but you don't want to miss God and what He's doing. So we want you to stay tuned in with us every Monday through Friday, scheduling permitted. We'll either be on the air at 12 p.m. or 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you have been examining your entire life to date, and you want to know what can you do to really make much more out of your life and make it more productive. So here's what I'm going to say to you. And this is important for all of our listeners and viewers because, you know, first of all, the Bible tells us, let a man examine himself, a man or a woman, mankind, examine itself. So you've been examining your entire life. You've been looking at the things that have produced positive results, and you've been looking at the things that have produced consequences. Life is full of results, and it's full of consequences. The good news is that you want to be more productive. So you've identified what it is you desire to accomplish. And all of you have heard me say at some point in time, the one thing you want to do is, when you're examining yourself, is you want to determine exactly what you want to accomplish, both personally and professionally, not just for today, because what we've done in the past, last year, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, has resulted in where we are today. These are the results. You may be feeling some consequences right now, but that's okay. Because the good news is we work for the future. So you're looking at how to be more productive. How do you move forward and produce success? And the first thing I'm going to say to you is you've got to focus. Focus to me is an acronym for following one course until successful. So you've got to, one of the things no one should spend their life being all over the place. You've got to focus in, be laser focused on what you want to accomplish personally and what you want to accomplish professionally. It can't be the feel-good moment, because life will continue until it's over. Till the Lord calls us home, life is going to continue. So we have to continue working and following that one course. Then you've got to make the main thing the main thing. You got to keep in front of you what you want to accomplish both personally and professionally, which is the reason we talk about writing a vision, making it plain. What do you want to accomplish over the next 7 years? What do you want to accomplish over the next 14 years? What do you want to accomplish over the next 21 years? You've got to know what do you want to accomplish over the next 28 years, the next 35 years. You've got to know that you've got a vision to work. And then you work the vision, but you've got to write it down. You've got to map it out. You've got to chart out your course. And then what steps do you need to take to accomplish that? And then you have to keep the main thing the main thing. You can't get distracted by what's going on around you. You can't just get distracted with what other people are doing. You can't get distracted with what other people want you to do, because people are going to be part of your life, and people are always going to have their own agenda, and they're always going to want you to do what they want you to do, but you can't do that. You have to do what you know is going to get you where you want to go. So you can't be distracted by that. Now, one of the things, and this will take me to another communication, so I'm not going to get too deep into it right now, is you've got to know that there are people in your life that you can then tap into that will give you the guidance to get you where you want to go. They will make certain that you have the tools necessary to get you where you want to go. Contrary to popular belief, we don't all have all the right answers. You know, you can get them by revelation from God, and you can get them by perhaps a mentor who has your best interest at heart, who is not just focused on, and there may be some overlap. Some of what they have you doing may benefit what they're doing. But their agenda is not just about them, it's about getting you where you're at a place in life where you can maximize your success. So again, you don't want to be all over the place because that never leads to success. You want to focus, follow one course. This is what I'm trying to accomplish, and take the necessary steps to do that. That's what it means, keeping the main thing the main thing. You've all heard me talk about smarter goals, how those smarter goals have to be relevant and focused on the results that you want to accomplish. So we'll be talking about those again, because some of you have sent in communications about the smarter goals topic. You know, we all heard about SMART goals, then we realized that we needed smarter goals. So we just have to continue moving forward, being focused, being laser focused, knowing everything that you do every day should be focused on getting you where you want to go. There are people who think that life is just a party. No, it's not. It's not that. Life is great, and it's good, and it should end with maximizing your success. That's what greatness truly is. Everyone's greatness is going to be a little different. Some people's greatness is going to be much different. But greatness is greatness. Your greatness is your greatness. And what you want to accomplish is what will make you great. And what makes you great is to maximize your success both personally and professionally. So let's just stay focused. This is for all of us. Let's stay focused. Let's be productive. Let's maximize our success, and let's experience the fullness of God. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G provider at no extra charge. If you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest and fastest, most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill. T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers, and I know I alluded to the fact that the last communication was going to take me into this, so I'm going to get there now, and that is, you want a mentor, however you say you're having difficulty identifying and partnering with a mentor. Okay. And you want to know how do you accomplish that. So let's start with this. You've got to enhance your performance. You've got to get to a place in your career where you're performing at a high level. Because the only way a mentor is going to give you their time is that they know you are working to perform at the highest level. That's the very first thing, because a good mentor is going to ask you where you are in your career right now. And they're going to talk to you about your career. They're going to listen, and then they're going to respond. And the reason they're going to listen is because they need to know what's your attitude, what's your behavior, what's your level of commitment. What's your level of diligence? Do you have a focus on excellence? On excellence, and they will know that by having a conversation, well, perhaps even multiple conversations with you, but they will know that by having a conversation with you. They'll understand your thought process. And then they will determine if they're going to give you their time to mentor you. So you've got to think about how you can enhance your performance, how you can perform at the highest level right now. And then you have to, I'm going to encourage you to do this. Seek a mentor from your current business sector. It doesn't have to be someone that works within your company or in your professional environment, but someone in your business sector. And for you, it's actually going to be more beneficial if you find a mentor who is outside of your current company, because your current company has they've already determined your personality. They've already determined how you function in your career and in your professional environment. You can improve that, enhance that performance and relationships, environment. You can enhance all of that as time goes by. So seek a mentor who's in your current business sector but doesn't work for your company. But then start to perform at the highest level. Start seeking to perform at the highest level. When you do that, you're going to find that there will be someone who's willing to dedicate their time to see you grow, develop, grow, and make progress. Because that's what mentors do. Mentors are focused on progress. They're not focused on having chit-chat and conversations. They're focused on seeing you progress, because then your progress becomes their success. And I don't mean, talking about it in the general public. They know that their success of mentoring is based on your success, your progress and your success. So that's all they're going to be looking for. How can they help you make more progress? How can they help you become more successful? That is their success as a mentor. But you've got to find someone who's willing to spend that time, dedicate that time to you. And the only way people are going to do that is because they know you seek to perform at the highest level. Because no one wants to waste time. No one wants to waste time. People who waste time are not maximizing their success. And we have to be success-driven, not just result-driven. It's great to get results because it lets you know that you are you're on the course of success. So you've got to get results. We talk about being result-oriented. We have to be success-oriented. Because you can get positive results, you can get negative results. Negative results result in consequences. But you can get positive or negative results along the way, but you can still maximize your success because we all have the opportunity to improve every day. So in order for you to identify a mentor, you have to be looking for someone who you can emulate what they've accomplished over the course of life. You can emulate. You can look at listen, one of the things I tell people all the time, you want to identify a mentor, you may not be able to see what they're doing every single day, but you can look at the quality of their life and determine that's someone that I can get information from that will allow me to emulate what they're doing so that I too can maximize my success. I've used this example many times over the years. I constantly watch what Warren Buffett is doing at Berkshire Hathaway for investment purposes. I constantly watch what Bill Gates is doing at Cascade Investments for investment purposes. I'm looking at what other investors do so that because they've been doing it for a longer period of time. They're older than I am. Well, Bill Gates is about my age, but still, nonetheless, they've been doing it for a long period of time. And they've had success doing it. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to do what they do personally. That doesn't necessarily mean that. It just means that from an investment perspective, I can emulate what they're doing. I can see what they're investing in and make a decision if I want to follow that course. And naturally, that's a good course to follow because they've had success doing it for a very long period of time. You've got to identify people even if you don't personally know them. Look at the quality of their life and determine where you want to emulate them, why you want to emulate them in that particular category, and then you've got to take action. So once you've identified, you then have to request the opportunity to partner with them as a mentor, as a mentee, and having them as your mentor. That's how you're going to get to the place that you desire to go in your career. Your career is important to you because you'll spend more time on your career than you will on your personal life. I don't care what anyone says. No such thing as work-life balance. The only thing you're trying to balance is self-care, because you're always going to work more. And the reason is, and I've said this years ago on the podcast, but I'll say it again, and I'm sure I'll say it in the years to come. Think about this. There's 5 segments to business: administrative, development, management, marketing, and operations. There's 5 major segments to business. I allocate 2 hours per day for each of those segments. That's a 10-hour workday, minimum. You're going to sleep for 8 hours. If you're not, you should, because that's going to help you perform at the highest level. That's 18 hours of the day already gone. Any additional work you have to do has to be subtracted from the last 6 hours of the day. Pardon me. Allergies, and we're live. So listen, you've got to subtract anything else that involves business from those remaining 6 hours. And after that, whatever you have left is called personal time. So you're never going to have 12 hours of personal time and 12 hours of, and 12 hours of business time. You're never going to have 8 hours of rest, 8 hours of personal time, 8 hours of business time. That never will allow you to maximize your success. So we have to get over ourselves. We have to get over, I want more personal time in my life. No, focus on your self-care. If you could do that, that'll help get you where you want to go in your life. That means some exercise, that means getting plenty of rest, even if you're not sleeping, just letting your body rest, self-massage, manicures, pedicures, whatever you're doing for self-care, that's got to be part of that 6 hours that you have remaining, because we've got to put in at least a 10-hour workday to be able to maximize our success. And we also have to learn that it's okay to work on the weekends. And what I mean by that is, I'm not suggesting you're going to work all day, because the weekends in your career you have off. So you've got to take some of that time on the weekend to put into work, to put into business, to put into investments, because we all have to save and invest, right? So that we can maximize wealth building. There's a lot to life. And we've got to know that we have to be intentional about every hour of our day. It can't be spent wasting time. We have to be intentional about every hour of our day. That's how we're going to maximize our success. So, because you want to accomplish that, identify who you would like to mentor, and then request partnering with them, mentor and mentee. And you will find that that will help you to begin the process of being more successful and eventually maximizing your success. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by PorscheAmerica.com. If you are currently in the market for a high-performance automobile, one of the finest high-performance automobiles ever manufactured, go to PorscheAmerica.com, where you will have the opportunity to virtually build out the Porsche you desire to own. And if you're in our area, you can simply go to PorscheDelaware.com, ask to speak to Mike Didio, who's a general sales manager at PorscheDelaware.com. He will have someone assist you in selecting the Porsche you desire to own. If you currently own a Porsche and you're in our area, go to PorscheDelaware.com, ask to speak to Mike Adams, who is the service manager at PorscheDelaware.com. He will have someone schedule an appointment for you. They will pick up your vehicle at your home or office, drop off a loaner vehicle to you, and return your vehicle to you when your service has been completed at PorscheDelaware.com. And if you're not in our area and you are in need of service, contact PorscheAmerica.com, where you can find a dealer who will be able to service your vehicle at PorscheAmerica.com. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you decided you wanted to change your hair color. This one was amusing, I have to admit. You wanted to change your hair color and you did it without consulting your husband, and you said now your husband wants you to change it back to your original color, and you want to know how do you respond to your husband. And you said something else in your communication, so you asked me from a man's perspective. Listen, I will say this to you. If your husband is someone who's all over the place, he's just doing whatever comes up in the course of his day in life, you might be able to get away with that. And I don't want it to sound like all husbands are being unreasonable, but here's the reality. Your husband didn't want a new you. If he wanted a new you, he wouldn't be your husband. He would go out and get someone with a different hair color. Okay? What he's telling you is that he wants you just the way he married you. Nothing more, nothing less. He doesn't want you doing all of the things that are being done in pop culture today because it's confusing. Okay? He wants you to just be who you were the day he met you. Making some progress, because we all need to make progress in life, but he doesn't need you to be a different wife. He doesn't need you to be a different one, because you come home with one hair color today, 6 months from now you're going to come home with a different hair color. He's got to be reintroduced to you. In his mind, there's something more going on than just, I want to change my hair color or I want to change my hairstyle. Listen, I'm going to help all of our female listeners and viewers today with something. Contrary to popular belief, men are not complicated. We're very simple individuals. We are probably the most simple individuals roaming the planet. We don't need a lot of change. We change when change occurs. We don't need a lot of movement in our lives. We really need things to stay very basic and very simple, because it just causes confusion. How do I know this? Because God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. Real men want peace. They want a steady diet of consistency in our lives. We, listen, we're not complicated. You don't have to do different things to get our attention. So, based on your communication, I'm going to tell you what your response should be. Yes, dear. He wants you to change back to your original. See, and I know I'll get some communications from some of our listeners and viewers and who will say, Pastor Pope, how dare you, say I shouldn't change my hair color the way I want to change it. I shouldn't change my hairstyle the way I want to change it. Your husband chose you, or your significant other chose you because you appeared to him. Men are very visual creatures. You appeared to him one way in one day at one time. At one moment of time. He saw you, he liked you, he was interested in you, he wanted to pursue. Then you became united as one, whether it's in your relationship, exclusive, or whether it's in marriage. That's what he saw. That's what he wanted. When you change up, you need to know you run the risk of him paying attention to what he saw in you originally. Now, I know some of you will say that's not fair, but life's not fair. Here's the reality. The reality is he wants what he wanted. He doesn't need you doing all of those things to get his attention. So then the question becomes, who are you doing it to get attention for and from? Whose attention are you trying to get? Whose attention? Because it's obviously not your husband. Because he didn't need you with a different hairstyle. He didn't need you with different color. He needed you to be who you were the moment he chose you. Because remember, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor of the Lord. So he knew what he was looking for. He found you. Now you change it up. Not going to work out. And your husband was at least willing to say to you, I want you to change it back. I want you to go back to what you were when I met you, when I chose you. So you got to ask yourself, is it worth it to follow pop culture when you already have someone who wants you just the way you are? There's a song that said, don't go changing, trying to please me. I love you just the way you are. But you got to recognize some things mean something. And for men, when we choose a woman, we choose her the way she was the moment we met her at that one moment in time. Now, we all want to do things to improve. Let me say that. We don't want to be wearing clothes from the 70s until they evolve again, because they all come back again. We don't, the bell bottoms, the wide leg pants. We don't want to be doing that again until they become popular again or become fashionable again. We don't want to be outdated. Let me say that. But, I'm not going to change my attire just because everyone else is changing my attire. I will look at what's in the stores or online. I don't do a lot of online shopping, but I'm just saying that to make a point, and that is men are really not that complicated. So your husband, and you said this in your communication, I didn't go through all of your communication, but you said your husband asked you the question, why are you doing that? Because now, for men, we immediately, when you're changing up constantly, we want to know what's going on with you. We want to know what's going on inside your head. What are you going through that provokes you to make that decision? That's how we think. That's how men, the mind of man, because we're not that complex. We're not complicated. We're very simple beings. And when we see a lot of activity going on around us, when we see a lot of movement, it disrupts our psyche. We need things very basic and very simple. And everyone has their own preferences of what that looks like. But once we get it, you can't change up, because then it complicates things. And relationships are complicated enough for most people. And the reason is because of all the ebbs and flows, the changes in society and our culture. That's enough to mess up the mind of man. We don't need any more. So your hair color kind of threw him off. And you said that in your communication in so many words, but he told you, I want you to change it back. And the way you respond to that is simply, yes, dear. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Comcast Business. We all need to be more effective and efficient in business. Call Eunice at Comcast Business at 603-222-7706. Your code is Pastor Pope, and with a qualifying bundle, you will receive up to an $800 prepaid Visa gift card at Comcast Business. Call Eunice at 603-222-7706. We're going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers. However, before I do that, I want to remind everyone that we are in the midst of our monthly FijiWater.com sponsored promo. So, what we want you to do is go to our internet radio station, WKAPFaith.com. You know, where we play music 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, music that will encourage you, empower you, and inspire you to become the best version of ourselves that we can possibly become. Now, because we're going to have to change up some things, scheduling issues, we're going to have to change up a bit. We will be on the air either, and you'll have to check Facebook and YouTube to know, either starting at 12 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time or at 12:30 p.m. Some days you're going to get an hour broadcast, some days you're going to get 30-minute broadcasts, depending on the schedule, because of the great things God is doing. However, at 11 a.m. or 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, the first three songs you hear at exactly 11, starting at 11 a.m. or starting at 6 p.m., list those songs and text them along with your name and your email address to the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. We will select one of our listeners and viewers who will receive a case of Earth's Finest Water from FijiWater.com. And we're going to be running that promo for the remainder of the year. So you don't want to miss out on that at 11 a.m. or 6 p.m. daily. The more you send in the list of those three songs you hear at 11 a.m. or 6 p.m. along with your name and your email address, the more opportunity you have to be selected to win a case of Earth's Finest Water from FijiWater.com. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated you are finally moving in the directions you want to move. However, you say you are being slowed down by the little things that must be done. And you want to know, how do you overcome being slowed down by those things? So listen, what's interesting about this is that you look at the fact that you're moving in the direction you want to move. Things are happening. Good things are happening. But then the little things slow you down. The Bible says that it's the little foxes that spoil the whole vine. But here's what I'm going to say to you. It's because of God that we move. We live, we move, and we have our being. You got to recognize that when you're slowed down, it's because you're moving at the pace God wants you to move. You don't want to move faster than God is moving in your life. You want to move at the pace God is moving. And God will decide when he wants you to move faster and when he wants you to move slower. Those little things you're talking about may just be God moving at a pace that you aren't comfortable moving. You want to move faster, God's saying slow down. You want to move faster, God says slow down. You want to move faster, God says slow down. Don't focus on the inconvenience of the little things. Just do the little things that must be done because they're all part of your success. You've got to understand that little things, those little small details that you have to attend to on a daily basis are all part of the process of your success. So you can't skip over those to get to the big things. You've got to take one step at a time, pace yourself, do the little things that need to be done, and allow God to keep moving you at the pace he desires to move you. I can tell you that for many years, it's been a work in progress. Our church, our ministry, then other components of our ministry. But now suddenly, God has opened the windows of heaven and poured out a blessing that we don't even have room enough to store it. And that's not a complaint. That is an explanation. But what I'm saying to you is you have to make the adjustments. So I just announced to everyone today, let me give you an example. You all have been asking for years, and when I say years, for years, you all have been asking for us to do a one hour broadcast. You said, you know, it's great to have a 30-minute broadcast, but how much greater would it be if you could listen to the broadcast through your entire lunch? Okay, I get it. We started doing 1 hour broadcast, but God has done so much exceeding abundantly above all we can ask or think. There's so many new opportunities ahead of us to expand the church, the ministry. There's so much opportunity that God's now saying, slow the pace and get more done. And what he's doing is simply pacing us. So, you know, we see that there's days where there's scheduling conflicts that won't allow us to broadcast. So we say Monday through Friday from either 12 or 12:30, you've got to keep up because you're part of this. And on the days that I'm not able to be on the air due to scheduling conflicts, then you can go back for inspiration and view the archives because every broadcast is on YouTube in perpetuity. You've got to do what God wants you to do, and he'll show you what he wants you to do. But you've got to be willing to do it. I have to tell you, I enjoy doing the 1 hour broadcast. This has been part of moving forward. The 1 hour broadcast that you all have been requesting. You asked for it, you got it. But I enjoy doing the 1 hour broadcast because it prepares us for the next level. What God has shown me is that some days you can, some days you will not be able to, you'll be able to do a 30-minute broadcast. Some days they're going to need to view the archives because I'm doing something greater. Something that is going to be life-changing for many. So we all have to work together in this. So you've got to recognize that the little things that you find to be an inconvenience are all part of the process. I had to come to terms with that one myself. And long ago, it's all part of the process. The biggest of things and the smallest of things are all part of the process. And you've got to be okay with that. Just do them. Do the little things, because even the little things mean something. That's the good news. The good news is even the little things mean something great. And when we get to the place that we understand that, then we won't complain about doing the little things. We will just get everything done. Everything that God has appointed for our lives. It'll get done, and it shall come to pass. Everything means something. And just know how important everything is. How you do anything is how you do everything. Everything means something to everything. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Nike.com. If you are in the market, let me rephrase that. If you're interested in the game of golf, so this is brought to you by Nike.com/golf. Nike Golf. If you're interested in the game of golf, go to Nike.com/golf. You will see everything that Nike has to offer for you to be able to experience the game of golf. And if you're just interested in enhancing your health and wellness, go to Nike.com. You'll find everything that you could possibly need to enhance your health and wellness. Athletic gear, athletic equipment, whatever you are interested in, Nike has something for you that will enhance your health and wellness. Go to Nike.com, and if you're a golfer like myself, which I would love to be doing more of that right now, but once again, the things that need to be done must come first. I'd love to be out for 4 hours on the golf course right now, but if you're interested in playing the game of golf, enjoying the golf experience, go to Nike.com/golf, the word golf, and you will find everything that Nike has to offer for you to experience the game of golf. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you wanted to know more about smarter goals. Okay, so before I get into any of the other communications, I said I was going to do this later, but here I am at this communication, and so I'm going to address this, and I'm going to make sure that we get this. So I'm going to spend a good amount of time on this for the remainder of the broadcast, and I'm going to tell you the reason why. Because smarter goals, there's a lot of information that surrounds that. And we know what SMART goals are. Smarter goals means that we're going to maximize our success. So in your communication, you said, if you can get this down to a science, it will be life-changing for you. All right. So smarter goals are this. You have to be specific about what you want to accomplish, personally and professionally. They have to be measurable. You've got to be able to measure your progress and your success. They've got to be action-oriented. So you've got to be taking action consistently, which will eliminate procrastination, it will eliminate complacency, and it will allow you to maximize your success. So you've got to be action-oriented. But your goals also have to be reasonable. You know, you've all heard me say this before. I'm not going to be a neurosurgeon in my lifetime. Not an area of business that is of interest to me. It is not something I'm going to go back to school and pursue. So it's not even reasonable for me to say I want to be a neurosurgeon. It's not reasonable to put that in my smarter goals. So I eliminate that. Remember I said make the main thing, keep the main thing the main thing. So it has to be reasonable. It has to be time bound. So you've got to set some self-imposed deadlines. Don't Don't allow everyone else to set deadlines for you. You've got to have some self-imposed deadlines. I'm going to get through all of this, go back and review. Then you have to, SMARTer goals are evaluated. So you have to evaluate your goals. You got to make certain that you are constantly evaluating what you've accomplished. That's how it works. That's what SMARTer goals are. So you evaluate, and they have to be relevant. So once again, everything you do every single day, they have to be relevant to what you're trying to accomplish. It has to be relevant to what you're trying to accomplish. And then you have to review it at the end of every day. I do that every single day. I review what I've accomplished during the course of the day. And then in the morning, I review what I need to accomplish for the entire day. This is all part of, this is how you become consistent, because consistency and longevity are two of the keys to success. Doing anything every day consistently and doing it for a long period of time is going to result in success. No question about it. So, then you have to, so that's SMARTer. Those are SMARTer goals. So now let's talk about that. Because if you're going to be specific, one of the things you need to do is SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is important in your life. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? What are your threats? You want to be specific about what you want to accomplish personally and professionally. You don't want to just wake up in the morning and try and get through the day. That doesn't work. It's not a SMARTer goal. You got to be specific. You got to SWOT analyze your life. Where am I strong? Where am I weak? What opportunities am I missing? What are the threats to my opportunities? This is what you have to decide. Measurable. You've got to literally measure your progress consistently. You got to know where you are at all times. You know, I'm going to give you a real practical example of that. So one of the things I constantly tell the students in our Achievers Academy, I don't want students waiting until their interim report to determine how they're doing. You should know how you're doing. And the reason you should know how you're doing is, have I turned in every assignment? Have I completed every assignment for adults that I have to complete in my career or self-imposed assignments? That's a measurable. At the end of the day, you'll know if you've accomplished that. Everything about your life, you have to observe the measurables. It has to be made measurable. What are my KIPs, my key indicator performance? You've got to know what you're doing at all times, every hour of the day. You've got to know how much work you're putting in to accomplish your goals. Or are you just waiting for life to happen? I'm going to hang out, have a good time, and wait for life to happen. Because life will happen to you. Bad things do happen to good people. Life will happen to us all. So you have to put in the work every day to maximize your success, but you've got to measure that every day along the way. Daily, monthly, quarterly, annually, you've got to examine the measurables. Have I accomplished what I intended to accomplish today? Have I accomplished what I assigned to accomplish this month? Have I accomplished what I determined to accomplish in this quarter? And then at the end of the year, let's think about this. We're already in the third quarter. will I accomplish what I set out to accomplish in this quarter? And then at the end of the year, what's the outcome of my year? So you got to measure where you are. I look at the 7-year plan, the 14-year plan, the 21-year plan that we started with. I look at how over that time I've developed a 28-year plan, a 35-year plan. You've got to say to yourself, is what I've done something that I can measure my progress? That's how you're going to maximize your success. But you have to take action. You have to constantly be working at maximizing your success. You can't, you can never become complacent. You can never rest on your laurels. You have to eliminate procrastination. You have to eliminate complacency. And you have to take action. Produce action. And then whatever you assign for yourself, make it reasonable. It has to be reasonable. If you can't reason it out, okay, if I put in this much time over the next 7 years, I know the result I'm going to get. If it's not reasonable, don't make it part of your smarter goals. And then, as I said earlier, you have to make everything time bound. You can't allow everyone else to set deadlines for you. You've got to self-impose some deadlines. I self-impose deadlines all the time. And the reason is because other than time schedules that are dedicated for specific assignments, I don't have anyone setting deadlines for me. God's my deadline setter. He sets every deadline for me. Some things I self-impose because I know that if I don't, I'm not going to get the results I'm trying to accomplish. So I'm constantly setting deadlines for myself. This is what I want to accomplish by the end of the day. This is what I want to accomplish by the end of next week. And everything goes on my calendar, because if it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. And if you don't write it down, it will not happen. And you can reverse that also. Keep everything. Time is money, and money is time. There's a cost value to time. You've got to make certain that you're maximizing the return on the investment of your time. And then you have to evaluate what you're doing. You have to evaluate, have you achieved the results you want to achieve? Are you just living with the consequences? All of that's important. And at the end of the day, whatever you do, it needs to be relevant to your success. And then review it at the end of the day. It needs to be relevant to your success. Make the main thing, and keep the main thing, the main thing. It has to be relevant to your success. We cannot and can no longer live life just living life, because we're never going to achieve the results we desire. It's not that kind of party. We think life's a party, but it's not that kind of party. There's so much more involved. We got to get so much more out of life. So you got to ask yourself, do your habits line up with your goals? In other words, do your habits line up with what you want to accomplish? Because your habits is part of your behavior. And your behavior has to demonstrate the success that you desire. 3D, today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you will save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com.